because I am showing you my demo.
There's a magnetic force that is pulling me down. Yeah, I'm trying to balance me out. My feet can't touch the ground. Yeah, I'm flying.
Hello everyone, I am back. This is Sheryl and I will be discussing today how to pass your demo lesson in Rarejob. Are you ready? Yes. So first, let me ask for an apology because in this video, I am not wearing any makeup, or I don't put lipstick or no kilay or foundation, because this is how I intend to do it. And this is how I do and conduct my lessons in Rarejob. But so far, whenever I open slots of 30 minutes before the lesson or 40 minutes before the lesson, it's all closed. And yeah, so I'm not saying that you should also not put your makeup on, or you should not put any lipstick or whatsoever, because you have to be pleasant as well. You have to look good in front of your students. But this is just how, or this is the way I conduct my lessons. So it's not against you or anything. So this is just the normal me. I would like to introduce myself first. So, I am an online English teacher since December 2012, and that's the time I joined Rarejob. So, after I passed the demo lesson, the mock lesson, or the exam, I have been teaching in Rarejob since December. So like first week of December, that was my interview, and then by the last week of December, yeah, that's the time that I started to conduct lessons in Rarejob. And after that, until now, I am still doing Rarejob, but it's just only part-time. Since right now I am also teaching English to preschool here in China. So I am it's been I think it's my eighth month here in Xiamen, China. So I don't have anything to do right now, so I have this time to actually give tips on how to pass your mock lesson, because a lot of Filipinos these days are doing online job, and that's a very good thing because it's very convenient. And later on, I'm going to share to you the reason why I joined Rarejob, or I prefer to work online rather than going to a school where you would really teach English to kids. Okay, but that is another topic. Okay, but since we are talking about how to pass your mock lesson in Rarejob, so I'm just giving you like my personal background. So I had this training detail on December or November 20, 2012. So that would make it 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18. So 6 months or 6 years and 2 months, or 2 months. Yeah, I'm so bad in mathematics, so pardon me. Yeah. And so 6 years and December, January, February, March, and then yeah, March. So 4 months. 6 years and 4 months in Rarejob. So there are actually a lot of categories that we need to look into. But right now, I'm going to show you the first one. This is the evaluation for the mock lesson. And the lesson is grammar. Okay, take note of that. And well, my trainer before so I'm not going to give her detail, but the training hour took 1 hour. The training hour is 1 hour, and my grade level is A. Yay! Okay, so I have that A grade in my mock lesson. Okay, and first one, this is the evaluation for mock lesson 01, grammar lesson. Okay, so these are the things that you need to take note. You have to introduce, or there is what we call introduction and small talk. Okay, so what do you need to do in this category? So I'm going to show you my training log. I'm not sure if you can see it. Yeah, there you go. Okay, and these are just the things that I will share with you in this video. So under the introduction and small talk, you need to call the student on time. Yeah, you know Japanese, they don't like to be late, especially if their teacher is late. They don't like that. And this is your mock lesson, so you have to impress that student kunbaga or student kono in Bisaya. And number two is that you have to greet your student enthusiastically. So how are you going to do that? Greet enthusiastically. Well, the first thing is that you just have to smile. Don't forget that very simple thing. Then say, "Hello, Reika-san. How are you today? Wow, it's a wonderful or a pleasure to meet you in this lesson. I'm so glad that you booked your lesson with me tonight." Yeah, that is one example of enthusiastically greeting. Just simply be happy and show your smile. And the third category under introduction and small talk is that you have to have this agreeable tone of voice. Okay, so sometimes our voice will become monotonous, like, "How are you today? Have you finished eating your dinner?" Like that. But just this voice, another way of saying it is that just be friendly with your voice. "Wow, that's amazing. You have a very nice name." "Oh, wow, that's nice. That's good." Yeah, so your voice must change into lower to upper. So there is actually that kind of emotion in your voice. And the fourth thing is that you need to conduct small talk. Okay, so when you do introduction, you just don't say your name. "I am Sheryl. I am 29 years old. I live in Davao City. And on my free time, I go reading or watch movie." Yeah, and that's it. And then let's go to the lesson. No, that is not that's not a good thing for your mock lesson. So you need to have this small talk, like, "Oh, wow, so you like to play guitar?" So if the student is actually saying that her hobby is playing the guitar or playing any instrument, then you have to at least engage into a little conversation, and that's what small talk is all about. Okay, and that goes to the next category in your checklist for the rate, and that is follow-up question. Ask a follow-up question. So don't just limit your question into this kind of topic, but you can ask follow-up question. That will make you a very good conversationalist. Okay, and the next thing that you need to remember under this subcategory or category is that you need to send the correct URL of the material to the student without being asked. So this is one thing. Sometimes this is a problem because we just ask our student, "Oh, do you have the topic?" But in mock lesson, while the student is talking, and when you think that she is done and you have already asked your follow-up question, then you can proceed with the lesson. Yeah, so Reika-san, our discussion today is all about introduction. And in your chat box, I sent you the link. You can click on the link, and that's what we're going to talk about. But normally the student will say, or your trainer would say, "Oh, I already have a copy, sensei." Yeah, you just say, "Thank you. Oh, it's fine. If you want a future reference, so this is the link." Okay, yeah, so you can do that. But don't forget to send the correct URL during your mock lesson and even in your lesson. Okay, so that is under introduction and small talk for your mock lesson in grammar. And the next category, the second one, is the lesson proper. So there are actually a lot of things that you need to talk about. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there are 10 things that you need to remember and to pass for your lesson proper. So the first checkbox that your trainer will check for you is that you need to have the appropriate speaking pace to the student level. So if the student is a beginner, and you would already determine that because your mock lesson details will be stated there. So what level is your student? So if it's a beginner, then you need to speak in a pace for the level of that student. Like, hi, Reika-san, how are you today? Yeah, but if your student is intermediate, then you can ask, oh, how are you today? And all the more if he is advanced, right? So you need to consider the level of the student that you are going to have in your mock lesson. And the second category that you need to remember under lesson proper is um, explanation should be given correctly, briefly, clearly, and promptly. So those are the things. Yeah, because when you explain something, it must be correct, and it must be brief, it must be clear, and immediately prompt. Yeah, so that's what you need to do on your lesson proper category. And the third thing is that you must be able to identify the students repeating mistakes. So there's a difference between mistake and error. So if the mistake is something that the student knows actually, but she just committed a mistake, but she knows in her mind that what is right. But there is also the thing that's error. Error is really they don't know if that is the wrong thing, and they cannot self-correct. Okay, but for mistake, the common mistake is that the use of are, the is, and if you hear that regularly, then you have to let the student know that, oh, you're saying it this way, but the right way is this. Okay? Yeah, so you need to correct them. And the next one is that corrections made must be accurate and consistent. Yeah. So if another topic she already made a mistake again and do it a lot of times, so you must be consistent in correcting the student, and it must also be accurate. So we cannot just correct them and then we just realize that, oh, I was wrong. Yeah, so you have to really remember that. And the next category, or the next thing that you need to remember under lesson proper, is that you need to give praises, but praises should be varied. Yeah, like you don't just say, wow, perfect, 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 perfect. You also have to use another way of saying it. Wow, you did a good job in this, or wow, you were able to, but don't say wow all the time. Okay? Yeah, you can say, you were able to answer or give me a simple sentence, Reika-san. And Reika-san, you were able to read this word correctly, and that's a very good thing. Yeah, so your praises must be varied. So just like what I said, you don't say wow all the time, good, perfect all the time. Yeah, it must be varied. And the next thing is that you need to use, and this is the most important thing, you need to use the chat box in your teaching aid. So if there's a mistake, you need to use the chat box. And if there's something that you wanted the student to remember, you also need to use the chat box. So as a teacher, we don't actually have the board, but Skype has this chat box, and that's where your tool is. And now in Rarejob, they already have this lesson room wherein you can already have this like a white wall that you can write something. Yeah, so you have to remember all those things. Remember to use the chat box or the white wall to when you give some information to the student. Okay, and next is that you need to use proper tone of voice and something that is not discouraging, like why, I told you many times. Well, of course, this is your mock lesson, so you have to really be very enthusiastic. Even if it's not your mock lesson, you have to be very enthusiastic, and it will be shown in the way you speak. Your voice actually tells a lot of things, so make sure that your voice is not monotonous. It's not something that will give discouragement to the student, that they will say, like that. Next is we need to end the lesson on time. Well, this is most especially since our students are Japanese, so they are very strict on time. So if the mock lesson should end at 4:30, so it should end on that time. Okay, you have to remember that. Don't over the limit. Yeah. And the next one is you have to cite the student's strength. And this is what I didn't do in my mock lesson. I know that the student did well and I appreciate him. I give praises, but at the end of the lesson, there was no identification of the strength of the student. So before your lesson ends, you have to tell the student on the things, the things that he did well and the things that he needs to improve. For example, since you have this grammar lesson, you can say to the student that, well, Reika-san, you did a good job in making a sentence. You were able to use the present form of the verb and all those sort of grammar things in English. Yeah. So basically, you have to let them know what are the things that they did well. And at the same time, you have also to make sure that you can tell them what are the, a little bit of the weakness. Like maybe in this area, you can improve in your pronunciation and you can suggest ways on how they can improve it. Like they can read books before they go to sleep loudly, and also they can watch TV or English shows or English movies. Yeah, you can suggest ways as well whenever you cite some weaknesses, okay? And the last one under the lesson proper is that you need to provide the area of improvement. So that is the one thing that I have told you about. Yeah, so need to identify the improvement. Well, if they don't have a good pronunciation, so you can tell them to practice more, practice reading aloud, or do some like tongue twisters. Yeah, but accent, they will really have Japanese accent. So even us Filipinos, we have our Filipino accent, or some Japanese that or Americans that would try to have the Chinese language, they would really have this American accent. So accent is not a problem. Pronunciation, we can correct it by giving them the right way to pronounce the word. Yeah, so we always use the American language format. So we use the American language format, not the British or Australian or Canadian, but it's American English. Yes. Japanese honorifics. So Japanese honorific is basically the san and the kun if it's a young male, like a little male guy or little boy, and then the chan is the little girl. Yes. So Reika-chan, Toro-kun, and Hiro-san. Yeah. So those are Japanese honorifics. That's the most common one. The next is that you need to use formal language. Yes, of course, because we are teaching them English. So we don't use some gay lingo or English jargons. Yeah, so we use the formal language. And next is do not say anything offensive or rude or anything that will not make you that Rarejob tutor. So anything that's offensive, yeah, like you say something bad to the student, or you are late, why are you late, like that, or can you please louder a little bit your voice, yeah, like the sound of your voice. Yeah, so it really matters. So do not say anything offensive or rude. Do not burp, because for Japanese, burping in the class or while talking is really it's an equivalent to fart. So when they burp, they don't express it that much and they even hide. So don't even burp. Don't even think of burping, okay? So the last one is that you need to introduce useful words and expressions. So before your lesson ends, you can actually say some expressions, and this is one thing that I didn't do in my mock lesson. So for my overall rate, the highest rate is like 5, but in my overall rate, I got 4. So I I didn't do 3 things in those category that I have given you. So basically, I just received a 4 rate. So if you introduce useful expression, then you can do that in the last part of your lesson. So you can say, before we end, I would like to introduce some useful expression in your introduction. Well, there's a lot of things that I can discuss, and I'm going to discuss that in my next video. So today, this is all about mock lesson 1 for grammar lesson. And there are actually a lot of things that I did before I really had my lesson in Rarejob. So I had a mock lesson for article discussion, and they also made a lot of categories that you need to yeah, complete. Yeah. So anyways, this is our discussion for this video, and I hope that you like it. And if there are things that you do not like, then I am also open for that. And I hope that you're going to do well in your mock lesson. And one thing that I just want to give you is that always remember to smile, to be enthusiastic, and just go with the flow. Don't be nervous. Don't think that you are doing the mock lesson. Think that you are helping someone out and you are improving their English skills. Yeah, so that's a better way for you not to be nervous. Think that you are a very great help in the Japanese society. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. This is Sheryl signing off. Bye.